Hello, beautiful humans. Welcome back to another episode of Naked Sunday. I am your host, Caleb Nelson, and I have my friend, Miss Danielle Lindner. Not Miss, Mrs. Danielle Lindner, right? Okay, let's get the. I don't even. What is those? Doesn't matter.
I don't know. I've
I'm
been
hanging.
called
I'm excited to hang out with you. That's long and short of it. Thanks for being on the program. The program. And every time I say program, I feel like I'm talking to like a 90-year-old grandma from the war. Like I
big
watched my
like
programs.
on me.
You're not a grandma from the war. Stop it. See, I've already got plenty of joy just being
At least
around
they're
you.
not putting me on that little like Schmucker's jelly thing. She's 100.
You know what's great about that? My wife actually just made some blueberry jam for the first time yesterday, and it was actually pretty dang good. I tasted it today. But maybe we'll jar it, and I'll send like a special one with you
There
with
you
this
go.
on the
Send me a
sticker.
special one with my face on it.
Oh my God. Oh, I love you. Well, let's lead into this. I love to start off all my episodes telling my guest why I appreciate them. For one, you clearly you make me laugh. I've had a good laugh every single time I've hung out with you. You're awesome.
Yay.
But beyond just laughter, because laughter is just, I feel like a great sign of safety when you're around somebody. Like, oh, we can be ourselves. We don't have to take shit too seriously. Fuck it. Let's have fun. Underneath that, I find that you have just this very generous, loving spirit about you. You just, especially some of the things you've shared with me about how you've been with, like, just a little bit of what I've glimpsed into your life. You just are so you care about people. You want to love on them. You want to give to them. And I just find that really loving and endearing because, well, you're awesome. So that's why I love and appreciate you.
Yeah, sometimes people say that's my fatal flaw. But
Oh,
I
do tell.
but but I don't think so. Like wanting to do so much for people and then doing so much for people and then they sometimes disappoint you. But I mean, that's just the way it is. Like you can't change yourself and if you're going to do good, do good. And if it doesn't work out, then it's okay. Like life's rewards don't come in a linear fashion, right? So I always sometimes when I'm having like the worst day and something really bad's happening, I'm like, yes, this is awesome because I'm gonna get paid back in good stuff like 20 times because of this thing.
Let's add optimist to that. I love
Yeah,
that about you. Like,
maybe
let's
for 5
grow.
seconds.
There's nothing worse than just pessimism. It just, you walk, you can just feel it on you, and you're like, why is all this negativity? You don't want to grow. You don't see the opportunity here. Even just that story you told me about your daughter yesterday with the school, like, and we're going to get
Oh
into that
yeah.
for sure, because I thought that was a powerful story. We hear those things and are like, guys, what are we doing here? Like, are we not here to grow? Are we not here to improve and become the best versions of ourselves? I don't know. I think that's the crazy not to be. So,
Right.
yeah. Before we get into some of those stories, then, let's do this. Let's share with the audience, because you know yourself better than I. Tell them, who are you?
Who am I? Well, I'm primarily an entrepreneur who has created a number of businesses. The two biggest ones are very different sides of the spectrum. One is an RPO, which is a recruitment process outsourcing and human resources firm that I started when I was 27 with my husband. I'm a lot older than that now. And we were just kids, but he was an industrial organizational psychologist, and I knew how to recruit people. And so we started that in a closet in our one bedroom apartment, and I would make brochures on a color printer at my teaching job because we needed like promotional materials and we couldn't afford any. And so we turned this walk-in closet into our office. Um, and we like just grew from nothing really to at our heyday we had 150 employees in 44 and serviced 44 different countries. Um, and that was really cool. And I ended up becoming a certified professional in human resources because with 150 people, you're going to have 150 problems.
Maybe a little more.
Eventually, I hired somebody. I was the head of operations, and then I hired someone to be the director of human resources because I'm like, I don't want to get involved with this anymore. Um, but so we basically function as a white label recruiting company for other companies. So we represent the employer and not the employee. So as just a simple example, company X needs to hire 10,000 um, financial advisors for something. They're opening up a new center. And so let's say the company is called, I don't know, Red Roof Company. Just making it up. And so our recruiters would have Red Roof Company business cards if needed. You don't really need those anymore, but Red Roof Company, email addresses. And we'd go out and start recruiting financial advisors for Red Roof Company and representing the employer. And so that's one thing we do. We also do human resource consulting. And then my husband is actually an expert witness for cases involving HR things. So when you have like the craziest cases, and I'm talking stuff that would be in like the cover of the New York Post, they call him to help the employer figure out, all right, what do we do?
Wow.
And he loves that. That's the fun part. The other thing I did was 15 years ago in the same building where we had our company. A lot of people were virtual, a lot of people were at the company, but there was a substantial part of the building that wasn't being used at the time. And in that building, I opened a preschool because my original schooling was degree in political science, a master's in elementary education. I taught for a number of years, and I was not happy with the preschools my kids were in. They weren't getting STEM, they weren't getting character education, they weren't learning a foreign language, like they weren't being stretched and enriched enough. So I said to my husband, "Can I open a school in the part of the building that we're not using it and make it like how I think a preschool should be?" And he was like, "Yeah, okay," not thinking I was going to really do it. And then a year and a half later, we opened.
Holy smokes. Because, with
Yeah.
all those extensive 150 problems you say you have, but times a
It was
thousand probably, you didn't have, I had that much more time, like, and just whatever, this
exactly.
extra time, like, whatever. Let me start a preschool, because
Yeah.
whatever.
And it was a tough road because I didn't realize there's like 957, and I'm not exaggerating, rules and regulations that you have to get checked off before you can open. And that's just for the state regulations. And then the town has like their whole board of people that has to weigh in on, oh, do you have tiny toilets? Well, actually, no, because I said to the guy, "Do you have a tiny toilet in your house?" And he's like, "No." And I'm like, "Well, then why do you want your child to learn how to only go to the bathroom on a tiny toilet?"
That's a
Does
wise
I,
statement.
I'm like, "Does the mall have a tiny toilet?" No. Don't you want a kid that has some abilities to use a real toilet?
I never thought of that. That's a
Come on,
simple
right?
but small shift of like, yeah, keep going. This is
Yeah,
incredible.
like it's like I wanted the kids in my school to leave with independence, feeling like they have a voice, understanding, that there's a bigger world around them, understanding that they as one person can change the world. And so we brought in, social action projects for the kids. And it can be the simplest things like collecting pennies for puppies or whatever, but they're involved in it. They talk about it. They understand what it's about. They learn about being a helper to something bigger than themselves. They learn about stewardship, um, public speaking. I figured if we tackle public speaking from two up, we're not going to have kids that are afraid of public speaking. And so I started Star Student, and they would come in, they present a poster and talk about it, and everyone's receptive and nice. So after 4 years of that, they build up that thick skin. Like they're not afraid to stand in front of a class and talk. Um, and it's like we never do those things, right? We wait till it's so late and we wait till middle school when everyone's mean and then it's torturous and then you're like, oh, I'm never doing that again. So it's like the same thing with the sciences. Like, we brought in BASF, like this big chemical company, and they came in and they did a day. Like every year they do a science day. We're the only preschool that they come to. Everyone else is like first grade and up, I think. But I'm like, no, you check out our pre-K kids because they are gonna love this. And they came in, they're like, well, we're gonna do a thing on polymers where they make slime. I'm like, exactly, exactly. Use the real words, polymers, it's slime. When they get to middle school science, our kids are not going to be the ones that just bear and get through science. They're going to be the ones that say, this is awesome. I can't wait for my science class. So from there, I naturally like, sort of went into parent coaching and because I was doing it every day anyway. I say being an administrator of a school is almost like being a bartender because people come in like and they're like with all their problems and they want to sit down and talk to you about, it could be everything from my child just will not sleep at night to like I hate my job. What should I do about it? And I'm like, well, I'm not really a job coach, but come on in, let's talk about it. And it might center around because the hours are bad and I can't spend time with my family or whatever like that. So, and then there's always the people that are like, I need my 2-year-old to be admitted to UPenn because that's where I went. And I'm like, let's get them out of a diaper first, and then we'll work on the Ivy League stuff, Stuff like that. Or like, oh, can you help me with the private school admission form? And they come in and they give me a form and it says like likes and it'll say European architecture and the kid's 4. And it's interesting. So I'm like, yeah, these people need me. So I replaced myself with the head of school. I moved to the board of my school and I started doing parent coaching. And the one-to-one was fun, but it's a small group, you're not really reaching a lot of people. So I thought, all right, well, I'm gonna maybe make a course for parenting, and at the same time, I'm gonna start an Instagram account from scratch, a new one just focused on parenting, curating really cool parenting activities because moms and dads and grandparents don't have time to like be scouring the internet for good stuff, doing some advice kinds of talking head things. And my account was just like abysmal. It was like nothing happening. I was getting likes, but it was like my mom, or I'd call my kids and be like, can you like this? And they'd be like, no, right now, I'm busy. Like, seriously? I give you life. You can't give me a like. Like, I'm like, come on. And I was like, all right, so I'm going to take some time to figure out Instagram and social media and Meta and figure out how this works and how it could work for someone like me who is busy, who doesn't want to be on this 24/7, who's not a techie person. And I started, learning and building my own kind of system. And then within 5 months, I had grown from 0 to 250,000 engaged followers. Um, and from that, someone told me, can you build a course? Because it's amazing. Everybody needs this. Everyone needs to know how to do this. So I built a course and I was on a group call with a bunch of awesome other coaches, one of them being Caleb. And he was like, seems like you really love this entrepreneurship stuff. Seems like you really love helping, especially even women, um, 50 plus that want to leave their job and start something new and create a company. Um, why aren't you doing that? And I was like, well, I've been doing it for just my whole life for free. I talk at 3 different colleges to young entrepreneurs, teaching them that it's amazing to be an entrepreneur. You can work any 80 hours a week you want. And he was like, well, isn't that like your coaching? So guess what? Now it is.
I
Yep.
love it. I love everything about that story. And I didn't know that. I don't think you had shared so much about any more of the details about the company you'd started with your husband, the HR recruitment stuff. What I found really interesting as a through line through all of those things, which made it so obvious why Instagram became the natural next step with how you did that. I was like, it's all recruitment. And you even
Yep.
said it like, oh, I know
Yeah.
how to just get people to like be around. Like, it's kind of like such a mom energy, like, oh, come hang out with me and all that kind of thing. Like, it
Yeah.
made so much sense. Like the way you described it, I was like, oh yeah, well, duh. It's you just showing up and just being that part of you the entire time. It makes so much sense. How
And
that
it's
can
so
show up.
funny too, because it's also about being creative, right? Like I our hardest job, I remember, was someone called us from the UK and they're like, we are building a new townhouse system or whatever they call it there. It's from, they were probably like, we're building a new townhouse, like probably more like that. And they're like, and we need an archaeologist to check out the site first. And I'm like, so my whole team's like, forget it. Don't even take that. Like, we're never going to find an archaeologist. Like, how is that even possible? And they're like, and we could use like 4 or 5 of them. And they're like, it's not happening. Don't even take this job. We're going to lose money on it. It's ridiculous. And I was like, are you people crazy? It's going to be the easiest job to fill ever. And they're like, why? I'm like, all right, the teacher in me says, let's just break this down. Who here has seen Indiana Jones? Anyone? They're all like, yeah. Okay. In the first scene of almost every one of those movies, or the second after he's getting hit by a rock or something, what happens next? They're like, oh, well, they usually show him like teaching a class. I'm like, bingo. Not a lot of holes in the world for these people to be digging. There are very few Tutankhamun tombs around or secret treasures. So, where do you think all these archaeologists are like right now? They're like, oh, teaching classes in universities. I'm like, bingo. Where do you think they want to be? Probably at a dig, like doing their job. I go, yep, we filled that job in 2 weeks.
Wow.
It was just so fun, like to have, and I think, like you're saying, the common thread, being an entrepreneur, and helping entrepreneurs, like there's always like a little roadblock or a little issue or a little problem. And like I love helping people kind of like, let's unpack it and figure it out. There's always a way. There's always a way, right?
Well, I loved what you're talking about. The school admin is kind of like being the bartender. I love it. And I felt similar when I had the gym. People come to you not just with like they come to you with all the other problems. And then
Yep.
you realize, oh, the problem is not the thing I think the problem is. It's all this other stuff that's actually standing in the way,
Right.
which people think, well, I'm just going to have a product and then I'm going to sell my product. But I have a business. No, it's the sourcing, it's the staffing, and what I'm loving about everything, it seemed that the beauty of your entrepreneurial journey is like if I just zoom out and take the bones of this, oh, this other thing needs that too. You took clearly your sourcing, your resourcing, your recruitment stuff to building a school. Like you had to have kids, you had to have students to do this. Like you had to figure that out. But then like, well, now who's going to teach this thing? Oh, well, let's go find subject matter experts as opposed to like who's just only formally trained. Like, what's the problems they need to solve? Thinking more from like a very practical, what are the problems that are actually presented to us? And it's like, well, cool, I'll just go like I think that's the gift of a true entrepreneur is that they don't, it's like what I talked about with optimism earlier. What I love about you is like, well, this is just an opportunity. Like here, cool. So, well, I'll go figure it out. I'll go find some people, and your ability to go just schmooze and find people because you are not bound by it has to be this way, which most people, ironically, as we talked about with schooling and the fights
Right.
I have with my wife, is like, this is the way, and you have to be here from this time to this time, and it has to be that way. It's like the bathroom thing, the small toilets thing is a perfect example. It's like, well, sure, like small toilets, that kind of makes sense. But then you go, well, they're not going to use that anywhere else in life.
Nope.
How are we going to figure out how to solve that problem? Oh, well, now we have a like that's a more practical solution. We're actually preparing them for life. In the
Right.
same way, it sounds like all the things you're doing, it's like, well, I'm actually preparing you for the business. What are you going to need? You need to have the people, and you're going to have to think. I just thought there was something really cool about that. And one of the things that I think is worth even talking about here, because the unsung thing that I have found most people eventually have problems with when they have a business is what's going on at home, what's
Mm.
going on with family.
Yeah.
So you were in an interesting situation of having first one business and then multiple businesses with your husband. Let's spend a little time there. Like, what was that like building a business together there, and what are some maybe the things that attributed to your success? Because clearly it worked out. You guys are still happily
Right.
married. Like something you're doing something damn right.
On Tuesdays. No, just kidding.
Something I didn't tell you before we got on the call, Caleb.
No, I think, well, a couple of things. I had worked I had worked at jobs, and I worked for an advertising company when I just got out of college for a company run by a husband and wife. And they ran it like a husband and wife. And I said to myself, if one day I have a company and I'm married, I will never run it like a husband and wife. And so that was the decision that we made right off the bat. One, we were going to have separate lanes. He's sales, I'm operations, and those lines won't cross. Of course, we would say, like, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? Or, strategizing on things. But for the most part, I had my lane and he had his lane. And that was the first thing. Second of all, when we were in the office, we did not bring our home life into the office. Like if well, I was mad at him about something at home because he, didn't put the cap on the toothpaste. When by the time I got into the office, it was like, "Hey, good morning, everybody." Like that doesn't come in. Like that's not. And I say that with teachers too in my preschool. You could have the worst day at home. Your day could be terrible, but when you walk through that door, those kids need to see happiness because it's not their baggage, right? And so it's the same thing with, I said, and if you have a bad day, come talk to me, but the kids can't see it. And so that's how that was another, and it was really funny because we did have the same last name, but for the longest time, a lot of our employees didn't even know we were married. Like they thought we were like cousins or something because we didn't act like a married couple at work. We acted like I'm the COO, he's the CEO, and it is what it is. And I think that was a big thing. Pick a lane and stick to it because otherwise it doesn't work. And then, you know, it's funny because our kids grew up in that, right? They grew up in this entrepreneurial lifestyle where it's a lifestyle, it's not a job, it's not a career, it's a life, right? And so it's funny because we had a day off one day, and my daughter was sitting in one of the offices at the building, and she was on her little like pretend laptop. And one of the managers walked in and said, "Hey, Chloe, my daughter's home too. You want to come home with me at lunch and you can go, you can hang out and play with Lauren?" And my daughter goes, "I can't go. I'm working on a business plan right now." And she was like 5.
This is a proud mom moment. That's
And her
awesome.
plan and her plan was this is what she ended up doing because my brother-in-law worked at the company too in accounting. She said, "I'm gonna I'm gonna get little jobs around here and I'm gonna tell them it's $5. And I'm gonna tell Uncle Alan it's $2 and then I'm gonna keep $3."
Wow. Incredible. Understanding margins. There we go.
Right? I'm like, true outsourcer. Look at that. Understanding the contractor model.
That's incredible. That's
So,
incredible.
yeah, and she ended up being our totally non-entrepreneurial kid, which is the funniest part about it.
That's wild.
Yeah, the other one became much more entrepreneurial, but it's funny.
But I love what you're saying there. Like it's clearly you guys had to have some conversations to be like, this is how the lanes are gonna be.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I
What
also
so
said to him, I said, if we're in a meeting, a staff meeting, because this happened once, don't ever say to me, can you let me finish before you continue? 'Cause he did that once. I said, don't ever say that to me in a meeting ever again. Ever. I said, because one, you would never say that to another employee because it's condescending. You just feel safe with me. And no. And he never did again. And it's like sometimes you'll come up to with things like that and you just have to figure out like what are your boundaries of things and what will you accept and not accept and then you discuss it and then you just move on. But I remember that really annoying me.
well at the root of that it sounds like you just had to have a conversation around like what is and not just a conversation, ongoing conversations about what is respect as in
Right.
boundaries. And that's
Yeah.
not easy, especially I mean, part of me in some ways thinks that if you run your life like a business because you have to define roles, responsibilities to make it prosperous, it's actually easier to have a relationship that way. Now,
Yeah.
there's a heart and a soul and a schmooziness and other things like that that, I think can arise from that. But I do think
Mhm.
that there's something very powerful when people do understand the consequences. And business is a great way to bring out quick consequences. Like if we're
Right.
not on the same page, money doesn't happen. Then
Right.
problems happen. Like, and then lots of other it's when we stop seeing the money as when it starts to be a symbol of like, where are things working? Or where's like the
Right.
friction points here? Why is that? Why is it not clicking? Oh, well, we needed to clear our boundaries. We needed to better define roles and responsibilities. We need to see where we needed to delegate better. Are we respecting the other person and understanding the human element of this part? Which I think did you guys have like a specific routine? Did you have like your own like home board meeting? Like what was that like?
I feel like every day, all day was home board meeting. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, our kids knew that a long car ride was going to be business strategy meeting. Like, they knew that, you know, every dinner time was going to be talking about how are we going to win this account or how are we going to, fill these jobs or how are we going to it's not that we didn't have family time. We had tons of family time, and being an entrepreneur gave us a lot of freedoms to, be at my daughter's recitals and leave early when they were sick. Like if they didn't feel good, worked from home, like even before it was the thing to do. So it gave me a lot of freedom and latitude, which was great. But with that comes, you are working all the time because you have to, you become responsible, at least we felt really responsible for every employee that we had because you start to learn about them. You start to learn that they just had a baby or they just bought a house or they have a sick family member, and so you feel really responsible even though you're not really responsible for making sure that they have a job. So I think that was one of the hardest things, it is one of the hardest things, but um I think our kids saw that like on a daily basis that we cared about the people that worked for us. They weren't just,
Numbers.
em- yeah, they weren't just employees to make money. They were family in a way. So, excuse me.
Well, yeah, I think the other side of that is what I hear the value in your kids seeing that is like it doesn't when you talked about like entrepreneurship as a lifestyle, I think of it as leadership as a lifestyle. Are you different in different places in your life, or do you always respect people in this way? Do you always
Right.
communicate? Like, do your values change just because you walked into a different room. I think of that as lack of authenticity if people
Right.
do that. So if you're like, well, yeah, like now is just as good a time anybody as any. And the other thing that I think is cool about what you're doing there is you're integrating them into, well, this is a real life situation. Oh, this
Hmm.
is the decisions we're making right now impact these lives. It
Right.
happens to do with this. But like when we were younger, or pardon, like older times, we'll call it, like villages, and whatever it was, like the village all worked together, everybody saw all the stuff all the time. Of course, by the time they were 13, 14, 15, whatever, they were ready to do all the stuff that the other villagers were able to do because they were always already doing it anyway in smaller capacities
Right.
before they would take on the reverence of the village elder or whatever that type of thing is. So I think that that's, and I'd be curious if that was part of the motivations you were having with starting the school. So like people get off to college and they get the degree, and then it's like you have all this stuff, but like you don't know jack shit about how to do anything with any of it. Like, of course you didn't, because these
Right.
weren't being applied into real world situations.
Hmm.
And if it's just in your day to day life all the time, like it's not scary when, as you said later, like with the public speaking. Well, you were a kid, you
Right.
practiced public speaking. Oh, well, you dealt with it at an age where we can laugh and we can joke, and kids, I mean, I look at my daughter, she doesn't give a shit what anybody thinks about her. She's 1.5. She cares
Right.
zero.
Right.
Cool. And she'll go back to learn to doing whatever she was doing if she had a fit or whatever. It's like zero thought around that. What a difference now that they don't have to break that belief
Right.
later on. I think that that's like some people be like, oh, you never stop working. Well, do you ever stop living? Like it's part of the things. If you enjoy what you're doing, like this is the stuff that comes with it. It comes with trade-offs. And
Right. And like
uh,
the trade-off can be like I was doing a talk at my daughter's college. She goes to High Point University, which is a very applied type of place. It's
mm,
like we're going to teach you how to eat at a fancy restaurant and have a conversation and know how to order and know where to put your knife and fork because you're going to need to network to get a good job. And sometimes it's over a meal. And I'm like, that's practical life, right? So I did a lecture there on AI, not AI, IQ and EQ. And then the kids could ask me questions, and I was telling them about my life. And they said, is it worth it to work 80 hours, like for so many years, to work so hard? And I'm like, it is because I can work from wherever I want now, like it does buy you freedom. And so my kids have seen one saw that it was a lot of sacrifice, it was a lot of hard work, it's a lot of stress. Sometimes you work for a year or two, you pay to work, like because some years there is no work. Like things happen in the economy and you're not making the money. And so it's a lot of stress on a family when that happens. And then the other daughter sees, oh, but look, they have so much autonomy and they can, work from where they want and that type of thing. So I said to the students, definitely worth it if you want that kind of lifestyle. Um, and so both kids took something different from it. Like my one daughter said, I don't want to have employees. Like, I don't want the stress of that. I'm going to be a clinical psychologist. I'm going to work for myself. And I just want to focus on my patients and that's it. And the other one said, I want to be an entrepreneur because I love the life that you and dad built. I love the hustle bustle. I love being able to create things. And so she's like, I'm not a corporate person. So it's just interesting, two people grown up in the same lifestyle and the same car rides and totally different kids.
but I think even that presents something beautiful in that they know what they want.
Yeah.
And how many people do you know nowadays that don't know what they want and are
Yeah.
waiting for everybody else to tell them what they want?
Someone said to me not too long ago, and I now think of it that way, that I raised two unicorns, and I do believe it. They are both kind. They're both, you know, nice kids. They both work hard. Um, and they're both willing to help people, whenever. Um, they don't give us any trouble for the most part. So do they both ask for money? Yeah. What girl doesn't? But primarily, they both, they take care of their grandparents. They love being with their grandparents, like, um, I remember when my grandmother was literally dying, a lot of little kids are afraid. They don't want to go up and kiss an old lady that has tubes in her and all this stuff. My kids were like right on her lap, holding her hand, hugging her. Like, I feel like they're just two unicorns, and I'm very lucky. So,
Well, I'm going to make sure you take a little more credit because you have to think about what you were just talking about with, oh, family dinners or car rides were, business strategy or all that other stuff. Those are the messy moments that if
right.
people try to live in these boxed off, sectioned off, siloed ways of like the world is this and it's separate, as opposed to like, no, it's all messy and it's all blending together all the time. Like we think we're not connected, but we are. It's
Yeah.
all connected. If you're used to just being in the mix and knowing how to just live in that uncomfortable milieu, something that other people be like, ugh, like different, wrong, scary, because whatever, actually still like they had a moment to be able to connect and feel
Yeah.
more love and be more connected in a challenging transitional period of life. uh, and that being an end of life or at least end of physical life. And I again give yourself credit because if you're embodying like, oh, this is an evolutionary process of us creating and doing a new thing, and who's to say like your one daughter is like she's not an entrepreneur. Well, maybe she doesn't have 10 businesses going, but if she's serving and doing what, let's all remember here, everybody, one business is already a lot of work.
That's right.
Two,
Oh, yes,
three,
it is.
like, and especially psychology, like you're carrying a lot of people's weight and
Oh,
to,
she works very hard. She works very hard.
I'm sure she does. One of those, I want you to share the story that you shared with me, was it yesterday, about your daughter with the jewelry. I would love to hear this. I think everybody should
Yeah.
hear this. It's the cutest thing.
Yeah, so when my daughter was, I don't know, I think she was like 8 or 9, fourth or fifth grade, maybe, probably less, third or fourth grade, she decided she wanted to make earrings and sell them. So she made a bunch of earrings, cute little things, took them to school, and I got a phone call from the principal's office, and they said, "Mrs. Lindner, your daughter is in the principal's office with us." And I was like, "Oh God, what did she do?" Well, she opened up a company in the cafeteria, and that is against our charter or something like that. I'm like, what? Like, she was selling her jewelry in the cafeteria, and you cannot use our cafeteria to run a company. And I'm thinking, like, it's not like a drug cartel. She's making earrings. And so I said, so you mean to tell, and I said, and they said, so we need you to pick her up. She's expelled for today and tomorrow. I said, so you're telling me that you have a kid who she also had ADHD, she was in speech therapy, she had some bullying going on. And yet I said, she's going out, she's putting herself out there in the cafeteria, showing that she's artistic and crafty, being entrepreneurial. And instead of giving her an award and maybe an assembly, you are telling her she's bad for doing this. You're giving her a slap on the wrist and you're expelling her. And they're like, yeah, I'm sorry, it's just our policy. I said, yeah, okay, I'll be right down. So I went down and I gave them a piece of my mind. And I said, she'll be back, in a day and a half. And I said, my policy is that the next day and a half, I'm going to be rewarding my child for being entrepreneurial, being amazing, being creative, starting a business so that she keeps doing it. Because it's amazing. And you should have a program for kids like her that want to be entrepreneurs. So shame on you, but it's fine. So I took her out of school and I said, first, we're gonna go to the mall, we're gonna go to lunch, wherever you want to go. She was like really upset, understandably. I said, first, I need to go get some jewelry cleaned at Tiffany's because I had some friends that work there. And she's like, okay. So we went in there and I ran into the head of the store. It was like, his name was Michael Plant. And he said, "Oh, Kelly, like, how are you off today from school?" And she's like, "Yeah, I got kicked out of school for a day and a half." And he's like, oh, what did you do? She's like, I started a jewelry company and everyone bought my jewelry and then they made me give all the money back and they didn't give me my jewelry back. That happened too. Like, what? And he's like, what are you talking about? So I told him the story and he said, well, what's the name of your jewelry company? And she said, Kelly Lindner Jewelry. And he said, oh no, you need to be K Lindner Designs. He's like, go home, make more jewelry and bring it back here tomorrow so I can see it. So she was so excited, right? And we went home and I got her more stuff and she made more things. She made these cute little cards that say K Lindner Designs on a little card. We stuck them in these little Ziploc bags, very classy. And we went back the next day and we walked in and Michael brought all the sales associates except the one selling the 20 carat diamond rings because they were busy, but all the other sales associates that were free into a little circle and said, this is Kay Lindner. She is the president of Kay Lindner Designs, and she was kicked out of school for starting her jewelry business. And they were like, oh, we want to see your designs. And she's handing out her little plastic bags. And every bag of jewelry was bought by some employee at the Tiffany's. And she even got orders for more. It's like, I have a niece. I need one for this one. I need one for my grandchild, blah, blah, blah. And so the the next day that she was able to go back to school for being such a derelict, she it was show and tell and she said I have nothing to show but I have something to tell, and she said the president of Tiffany's said that one day I can be a jewelry designer and I can, because he did say that maybe you can work here and be the new Paloma Picasso designer because your jewelry is so beautiful. And she's like, and I sold all my jewelry to Tiffany's that day. And the teacher was like, wow, that's amazing, because the teacher was nice, it was just the administration that was. And so it changed her, like it turned a really bad situation, what could have been a very bad situation that could have really hurt her spirit and everything about this kid, to never want to start a business, to never want to be entrepreneurial, to someone who is like, yeah, I can do this. Like a no is one no doesn't mean it's always a no. Like one no can turn into 50 yeses. And I think that's something that I try to teach the entrepreneurs that I work with. One no is fine. It helps you define your product. Two no's is fine. Great. It's a lesson. Like I've had 50 no's and it's fine because it's all helps you to figure out what your market wants. And maybe it doesn't want your first product. Maybe there is no market for that. I work with women and they come to me with a business that they think this is my business, and but no one's buying it. They're like, no one's buying my thing. And I'm like, well, it's because maybe it's something that they can do for free, like on their own. So, what do you love? What are the things that you love and that you enjoy, that you do well, that somebody would pay you for? And so we brainstorm and we think about it. And it's like, it's not bad time. It's not time wasted, when you get no's or you come up with a product no one wants, you learn from it. And like I also tell kids, students when they do internships, the internships that you do that you hate are sometimes even better than the ones that you love, because it's telling you, yeah, I don't really want to be a dermatologist, and it saves you a lot of time, going through med school, which happened to my daughter. She thought she was going to be a dermatologist and did an internship and she was like, I don't like this. And pivoted into clinical psych. So, like, I think like it's good lessons. Like they're just good lessons to be had, right?
I love the story for so many reasons, especially what you're talking about here. Like, for one, you're bringing up like rejection is not a bad thing, it's just information. And it's
Yeah.
probably what's actually going to help you sharpen what what you're offering, and also like maybe saved you from going down a path you really didn't want. And
Right.
so many people just try to shove themselves into that because of whatever expectations, whatever. I think of like, you have to be a doctor. Or like the parents are like, you have to be this, or you're a piece of garbage. Or like the family expectations, you have to be this, which is really like that parent is just worried about how they look to the world because my kid
Yeah.
needs to be whatever. And as opposed to like, what are your interests? Like, how do we work through this? Oh, you got rejected. Cool. Let's go learn how to. let's learn how to adapt. Like, what resiliency you taught her.
Yeah.
And but I also think like it keeps coming back to like you came in and helped like, oh, let me show you there's another way. This is not the only way. Like, and there will be
Right.
rejection. There will be authority figures in that scenario as the admin that are going
Right.
to say no.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's other authority figures that are going to say yes, and not only say yes, but do everything in their power to recruit other people to love on you too, and because they see a different vision. And perhaps that story doesn't even mean as much if she didn't have the rejection.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. The rejection is what makes it so much more powerful, right? I think.
Plus, it's a really cool story now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? You kind of showed that you showed them, fuck them, whatever. But
Yeah.
like, especially for a kid who's never had support like that, I gotta imagine like these women, they're gonna be like, wow, I wish my mom would have had my back, as opposed to saying like, you need to do this, you need to do that, you have to be this, you have to, da, 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 as opposed to, well, here's some foundational stuff, as you talked about, like your daughter's going to the school where they're teaching. I think etiquette classes are brilliant. I'm
Yeah.
like the fact that that's gone away in many ways. Like, there's
I
nothing that
know.
drives me nuts more than people who can't sit at a dinner table and like blah blah, blah like what like slow down, guys. Take a small bite and like
Yeah.
know how to use your fork and knife together. Like these are. It's not a snotty thing. It's like it's a decency thing, and we're gonna have a
Right.
conversation. Like, don't spit your food all over me while I'm trying to hear about you, what you have to say about the world. That was a gripe. I let it out.
They
Everybody knows my
they
feelings
teach
now.
you don't salt your food before you taste it. And it seems like a simple thing, but the reality is like it shows impulse control, right? On a bigger picture.
Yes.
So like if you're going for a job interview and it's over a meal and immediately you're salting your food and you haven't even tasted it, that director or whoever job, person who hiring manager is like, oh, well, clearly they don't take in all the information before they make a decision about something. So like things like that are so valuable, I think.
I never thought of it that way. Uh, Especially with the impulse control. I did a video. I had some. I think I'd posted it on TikTok back when I had a TikTok going, and it was a couple of years ago. And I did a whole series. This was back when I was kind of transitioning from the gym to what how I live my life now, what I coach on now. But it was specifically about nutrition at the time that I was talking about, and it's like weird ways that uh, can help you lose weight. And it's like use a fork and a knife. And people think like somebody lied up like that's crazy. That's how you're gonna lose weight doing it. Well, because instead of just shoveling it with, your hands or just like only eating this way, you can't shove tons of food in your face really quickly and just numb out. And like most people overeat because they can't slow
Right.
down and like tap into their hunger signals. It's just, as you said, the impulse control. That's why I brought it up for me.
Yeah.
You're not even aware of yourself. You're at the behest of your immediate feelings. And I need to satisfy that craving. And how many times do people make terrible decisions because they can't slow down and see the landscape in front of them
Yep.
clearly? They lack the self-awareness to make a very obvious thing. Like, and on top of it, like, you're just gonna salt your food. Like, if you're at a great restaurant, don't you think they probably salted this properly? Like, is there a little something there? Like, be aware of what you're doing. Um,
Right.
those little things, like zooming out and saying, like, this is kind of the platform for us to apply their life skills, but it's really about teaching the other thing. How do you see the world? I think that that's so smart that if we started thinking about these types of opportunities and the internships,
Yeah.
what you said, like we look back at all our lives as I'm thinking all these failures or whatnot, they're not our failures. They're the stories and the lessons to be like, well, that's where I'm going. This is
Right.
why I can solve the ultimate problem in my life for whomever I'm here to serve, which I think is so hard. Of course, when you're going through it, you're like, I feel like the world is ending right now, but it's not. It's just
Right.
information, as you're saying.
Yeah.
I gotta imagine just that's really what people, and I was saying this to you yesterday, but I love reiterating this because I think people sometimes when like coaches overthink what it means to be the one like coaching somebody. When yes, information is important. Context of applying the information is also important, but more often than not, people are just scared.
Right. Yeah.
And having somebody be like, "Hey, chill out. We're okay. Let's try this instead." Is that comforting? It's like mom or dad just kind of stepped in and be like, "Hey, okay, you skinned your knee a little bit. Okay, wipe it off, wash it up. Let's go do this now." Having a true mentor shepherd you through those rough times, that emotional wounding moment is often what saves you the most amount of time. That's not to say that your daughter wouldn't have learned that lesson on her own, but it's because wow, she was so fortunate to have somebody who could see the beauty of the opportunity. Say, let's try this right now.
Yeah.
The stakes are relatively low. You're a
Right.
kid, like, but like we all grow up to just be kids in bigger kid suits, like meat suits.
That's
That's
right.
that's all it is. We're not that
Rejection doesn't feel any worse or less, or any better when we're 2 or 42. You know what I mean? It's like it's rejection hurts, right? Whether a little kid says, "Do you want to play with me?" and the other little kid says no, like it hurts. And if someone says, do you love my product? And people are like, no, it still hurts. But to know how to navigate it and to also like, I love to mentor people that are entrepreneurs that want to start a business that have never done it before because I have had my own failures. And so I can say to them, it's okay. I've done it, but you come out the other side. And let's just figure out how to work through it and come up with, a different idea and how to pivot and stuff like that. And it's just all a process, a fun process. But I do think when you're going through it, if you're all alone, I did not have a mentor when I started my first business. And my husband didn't either. Our parents were not entrepreneurs. And it made it that much harder to not have a mentor to say, oh, get a business plan or try this or get a name or like everything had to be, learned. So I love that I can just cut down a little bit of that time for people and say like, all right, here's the steps that we need to take to get you going and get you on your way. And like, there'll be little hurdles along the way, but it's okay. We'll work through them. I've been through all of them before, and I can tell you how to get through them as seamlessly as possible without too many injuries.
we're gonna get bumps and bruises, right?
Uh,
But what I think is important is bring it back. You had mentioned, people saying, "Hey, is it worth it to work 80 hours a week for this many years?" Blah 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 blah. The value of what you just talked about there, that I think most people have a hard time wrapping their head around, is how much time you're going to save.
right,
And eventually, when you learn how to delegate properly and you grow properly and you're more clear on who you are, you don't have to work 80 hours a week. You can actually work a lot less. You can
right.
you can operate a lifestyle that's much different, especially with AI stuff now coming out. People don't
Oh,
realize
right. A
we think it's
hundred
going to be the
percent.
magic pills, but that's the value of having somebody like you, especially in the beginning. You don't know what you don't know. And
Right.
how many times did you just feel like you got hit upside the head with a sledgehammer for like,
Yep.
like
Yep.
that's a thing I was gonna have to deal with. It's like, oh, okay. Like how many things you're like, I didn't know I had to become a part-time fucking videographer or whatever the thing is.
Right. Or, oh, what's a land use attorney? Why do I need that?
Yeah, I thought I was just dealing with recruiting people. And it's like it's
Like,
all
what?
these abstract things that people don't think about. And when you have somebody in your corner who's like, no, I've been there, you don't know if it's like, and I say this, and perhaps I'd love to get some of your feedback on this, but I see a lot of times people are worried about investing in a coach because they're worried about what their spouse is going to think. Especially if you're not in business with your spouse,
Right, right,
there's already a disconnect. One person might
right.
be more like, I think this way, and the other person
Yeah,
thinks like in like clouds. I think in clouds. I'm similar to you. Like I
yeah,
see all the things. and they're worried about how am I going to talk to this person about this thing? I'm going to bring this person in and they're just going to kind of hold some space for me, whatever the thing is. Like, you mean they're not going to do stuff and push buttons for you? And they're like, no, that's not what's going to happen. Oh, well, that they don't realize is like 3 months from now when that thing happens that might cost you five, 6 figures, you won't have to do that because you didn't do the thing that would have cost you that problem because they went and spent
Exactly.
that. How much time do you need to make up that bill, to make up that payment? Oh, well, having that person there saved you years, saved you those 80-hour weeks for 15
Mhm.
years to maybe you do have some 80-hour weeks for 5 years. Making up numbers here, especially based on what you want in your lifestyle. If somebody needs to have millions of dollars, like it might look different on how they're going to get there.
Right.
But what have been some of your experience around talking to people about coaching? That'd be curious because I'm sure you've had to
Well,
meet people
like I
one-on-one.
have a perfect example of what you're saying about, you should tell your spouse or whoever, if you need to, that this is going to set me up so that I don't make costly mistakes and waste time. So my coaching program is a year long because I think it does take a year to like set the foundation and really get it set and really get to the point where you figure out what your business is, you figure out how you're gonna, get it going, you figure out the marketing, the experts that you need, all of that stuff. It's like having a baby, right? It takes 9 months. Um, but I was helping somebody who was opening a restaurant. And I said, "So what are you doing for human resources?" "Oh, I made a pamphlet." So I'm like, "What do you mean a pamphlet?" "It's just like 2 pages that says like, when you get paid and like, the HR stuff." I'm like, "Okay. So what happens when one of your, waiters decides to date one of your waitresses and they have a falling out?" It- And she was like, I don't know, they work it out. I go, "No, you could get sued for hostile work environment. So you don't need a pamphlet. You need an HR handbook. And it needs to be about this thick, and it needs to cover you for things that hopefully will never happen, but they happen. And so let's work on this now so that if something does happen, you can just say, of course, and then let's talk about what kind of insurance do you have? Insurance for what? Like for my building? No. Your employee insurance. Like what kind of insurance do you have in case an employee says something to a customer that's really, really rude and they blame you? You need a rogue employee clause. What's a rogue employee clause? I go, well, that's why you have me. Because I'm going to set things up for you now so that these things don't happen. And if they happen, you're protected and your business doesn't spiral into the garbage because you had a rogue employee or you had a relationship gone bad, or people are not taking they're not doing sick pay right, or they're not doing vacation pay right, and you're losing tons of money because people are taking more days than they're supposed to have. Like if we do those things up front now, it takes 1 month out of your 9 to 12 months to save you years of legal battles and money. So believe me, what they're spending with me is going to be a drop in the bucket compared to if you have an employee sue you for something without liability insurance and all those little things, So you're right.
Well, I love my one of my favorite words is foundation. So thank you for using it. And I literally made a post the other day about it. I think you liked it even. It was like, here's the pyramid. I think about it all the time. Like the foundation, most people do not spend time. It's the most when you build a house, and I have never built a house, so everybody know that. I'm just
Yeah.
aware of it because I've talked to contractors about like the most unsexy yet most expensive thing is the foundation.
Yep.
But once you have it, like you're on solid ground. You're
Hmm.
good. Other things can change, but that's
Yep.
just surface level loss. It's
Right.
small and you can weather the storms. You
There's
don't
always
go,
little aggravating things. But if your foundation, like you said, is good, oh, it's fine. My insurance carrier will take care of it because my employee handbook is perfect and I've done nothing wrong and I'm covered. And then you go to sleep that night.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you don't sleep. And it's just all those little things, like somebody I knew was going to hire a PR person to help her with her book, promote her book. She didn't have a book yet. Like, you're going to spend $3,500 a month for a PR person when you haven't written the book yet? Like, what are you promoting? Oh, well, I'll start the PR for it. No, no. Write the book. I'll help you figure out how to write the book. I can tell you how to self-publish because I've done that. I can tell you how to get reviews and how to, get it promoted. And then we do the book tour. Then they spend money on PR. It's like, I mean, think about it. 3 months of PR, you're way over $10,000. And you're not going to get your return on your investment when you don't even have a book or a website. Little things like that, little things.
Well, you're talking about the order of operations, and if you don't know, again, you don't know what you don't know. All you see is that you're watching that person on
Yep.
the internet who does whatever, and you're like, well, they're in a different stage in their career. They're in a different stage in their development. And also, you actually don't know what stage they are in, and you don't even know if what they're doing is working. You have the
Right.
perception of what you see is working because they're only
Yeah.
showing you like the shininess, and then you see behind closed doors and a lot of things, and you go, oh, that's that was not what I thought it was. It's not the glitz
Hmm.
and glam that is being portrayed there. It's a
Exactly.
lot messier, and it's actually costing him a lot of money. It's
Great.
not profitable, and then you hear about it 10 years later, or whatever, that kind of thing. But um,
I
it,
mean, I hired a business coach at one point, and she overpromised and under-delivered. And so I would never do that. I want to underpromise and overdeliver because I don't want anybody to be like, oh, I went on a limb, I hired a coach, I put money into this, and I didn't get, true value. I think that's the important thing. And also, it's a relationship, right? When you're coaching somebody, you become very close with that person, and you're helping them follow their dreams, and you're helping them to build something, whether it's a life or a business or you know, their health and wellness, whatever it might be. And so I feel like you have to go into things with honesty and integrity. And that to me is one of the things that I tell my girls and I tell my entrepreneurs when you're hiring or going into any relationship, to love someone's great. To have a guy that loves you, that's great. But if they're a liar, the love doesn't matter. And it's the same if they're disloyal, the love doesn't matter. And it's the same way when you're trying to staff up a company. You could love this person. They could have an awesome personality and be a great lunch partner and be so fun. But if you can't trust them and they're not loyal and they don't want to treat your business like their business, then that's just going to hurt you in the long run. And you got to keep on looking. I think that's like my parting words.
I love
Loyal
that.
Loyalty over love, because lying kills love every time.
Oof.
And I can make a t-shirt on that.
That's going to be a clip. Don't worry. That'll be in the marketing material for this one. Well said. Well said. I've got three fun questions before we wrap this one up. So let's have some fun
Okay.
here. Okay. By the way, I'm so fired up about today. Um, Question number one. What sports and or creative activities did you play when you were younger? And then 1A, 1B. What was your style of play? Like how
Okay,
did
so that's hilarious that you asked me that because I did not do any sports. I did public speaking competitively.
stop it?
Yeah. I was a competitive public speaker. I went all over the state with my other nerdy little friends, and we would do we would compete against other high schools on public speaking. And I have trophies to show for it.
You need to talk about that on your social media. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was my sort of high school sport, I guess. I didn't really do any sports. I tried out for the thing where you throw the guns up in the air and everything, but I kept hitting myself with the gun. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'll go back to speaking. I'll go back to that. I don't get hurt in that.
I'm curious then about the style. Like, how did you compete? What is your style of speaking, if it was one?
Well, it was very competitive, and I was very competitive. And so it was like you'd have your I competed on like prose and poetry. So you would have to like basically like deliver like a poem or a story or whatever, and kind of like be not act it out, but be dramatic and all this stuff in front of like a huge panel of judges. And you would keep your stuff, like your folder, like close to your chest. And someone would be like, "Oh, what are you going to present on upon?" And you'd be like, "Oh, nothing." Like I was very, very competitive. And I remember it was really funny. The first time I ever went to compete, I was at a school and I got first place and this other kid got second place. And I went home and and my dad said, "So how'd it go?" And I go, "I won first place." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." I'm like, "No, my trophy's on the ta on the dining room table. Go look." He's like, "Okay." He walked in and he goes, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah." And that's not going to be my first one either. It just drove me. It drove me. And I remember when I was walking out of that competition, the one kid, the second place kid waved to me and I was like, I've since become a lot more humble, let's say. A lot more humble, a lot more humble. Since my eighth grade and high school competition days.
I love that. I love this story. So let me tell you why I asked this question. So when I studied kinesiology in college, and for anybody who doesn't know, that's just a fancy word for study of human movement.
Yeah.
And one of the classes I took was on play, and I was not thrilled about the concept at the time. I was like, sports play, what's this free play? Like the idea, like once I learned, of course I understood. Of course I still, I didn't, cast it aside at the time, but here we are now. Clearly it left an impact. And the long and short of it is the way we play, the way we engage in that is tells us a lot about how we go about solving problems.
Right.
Interesting about you is that you're still very competitive.
Yes.
But what I found to be interesting, especially this little tidbit about your dad, it sounded like there was like doubt. Like, I'm the underdog.
Right.
I'm the one other people don't believe in. I'm going to show you.
Yep.
And I think, especially with not only your journey of like, I'll go figure it out. And you like, it clearly, like, you have to want to win in entrepreneurship. If
You
you
have
don't
to
want to
want.
win, you got to win. Otherwise, like, kill or be killed in certain ways.
Right.
But especially with the entrepreneurs you work with, these women, and
Mhm.
it's like, oh, like you believe in the underdog
I
because
do.
there's all these other people that may be better financed, better whatever. But you're a new entrepreneur, you have a dream, you have something you want to share. Like, I don't think you're an underdog. I think you're just an untapped resource just waiting to come out. And I think there's something really cool about that, and that you've essentially just been you all along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
that you see that.
It takes a little bit to zoom out a little bit, especially like you're competing on poetry or whatever. It's like, oh, well, you're seeing the bigger thing. It's not about the poetry, like maybe, but like,
Right.
yeah, yeah. Oh, like, I see you. I see you, girl. Question number two. You're stranded on a desert island. You get to bring
Okay.
one TV show and one movie with you that you get to watch on
Okay.
repeat. What are you
All
bringing
right.
with you and why?
Can I bring us like a couple TV show, like The Love Boat, but like all the episodes?
Sure. Yeah, you bring the whole series with you.
All right, I'm bringing The Love Boat because that was my go-to during COVID when everything was so stressful. I'm like, I'm gonna watch old episodes of The Love Boat because it is so non-stressful. Everything always works out. It's so silly. My daughter watched it. She's like, this makes no sense. Nobody's divorced and then they're remarried in like 3 days on a cruise. I'm like, they are on the Love Boat. It all works out. It always works out on the love boat. So I would definitely take that. And one movie. Oh gosh, I don't know. It's terrible to say, but I've seen Goodfellas like 8 times.
Dare I call it your competitive nature showing?
I probably would take Goodfellas because I really like that movie.
What about Goodfellas really brings it out for you?
I love the time period.
Mm,
That the simplicity of the 50s, the classiness, not of mob world, but the music and the way people dressed up to go to things. Like I feel like people are so sloppy now. Like you go to a Broadway play and everyone's like a slob, and like I still like going out like for really special occasions. Like I like going to like an old time jazz place where the waiters are still wearing like tuxedos and like they're playing like Sinatra and stuff. Like I think that's kind of the thing that I love about it. The music and the time period and yeah, and it's exciting. There's a good storyline and there's like I always find movies interesting when there's someone who's inherently really bad, but you're somehow pulling for them.
mm.
Almost like the Joker. Like that's another good movie where it's like he's horrible, but like you feel bad for him, like from a just a like a cinematic. It's just interesting to me cinematically and how a director can do that. And it comes to business too, right? Like how can you persuade somebody to want your business or want your product or like what you have? You know, I think it's just interesting psychology. So I guess that's why I like it.
Love it. As it might not surprise you, I asked that question, namely because I think the media we're drawn to repeatedly and what we would take if we were to be like reminded of things is what we inherently like value. So
Yeah.
what I thought was interesting about the Love Boat one was actually what you're finally saying. It always works out, which ties back to your optimism. The
Yeah.
lighthearted, the silly, like I've always had some almost every single time I had somebody answer that with like some type of humor, something like it's light. And I fundamentally believe it all works out. We might not like it the we when we it might not work out the way we think it was going to, but it works out.
Yep.
And if we can let go of the control, it'll all work out. So that
Yep.
was the first in the show. I loved that. The Goodfellas, I thought that was interesting from like put your best foot forward. There's something about that where you talked about like the simplicity and you have the way you tie it in, like, oh, there's people just don't it's back to the etiquette thing. Like
Yeah.
put yourself in a position to succeed. And the other side of this
And
about the
don't kill people to do it. That's
and
not what
don't
I'm
kill
saying. That's not what I'm saying.
that should go without saying, don't commit some crimes in the process.
That's not what I'm saying.
No, no,
I'm
no.
saying dress up and be a little classy.
Dress up and be a little classy. But also, I think it's very easy to paint everybody in this world as all good or all bad.
Yeah. No,
And
people have so many layers, right? And levels. And
we
that's what's so interesting, right?
we have layers. And I think that also ties to this entrepreneur thing. The underdog, most people only look at one side. This is
Yeah.
all I see.
Yeah.
The the right people, the people that make it big are the ones who just see unleveraged resources. Like that's the diamond in the rough. It just needs this and this. Everybody else is classic judge a book by its cover. No, it just we can fix that.
Great.
Let's do that. But the root of it is pure. There's a like the essence of this, the jewelry with your daughter, like the little things, like
Great.
the essence of it's there. We just need to strip that back. But it takes somebody to be able to see both sides, and sometimes being to have empathy for the villain of a movie because it's a movie is to be able to put yourself in a different vantage point. And
Great.
say you've been in different vantage
Yeah.
points in your life. So like, oh, what a blessing. So I found that to be really interesting and your response to both those mediums, shall we say. That was good. Third and final question. What is your deathbed meal? Who are you sharing it with and why?
Oh gosh, it's all positive and now it's all depressing.
Well, you'll see. I got a positive spin on there. Don't worry.
Probably I'll have no appetite, so it'll be some sort of, some sort of gross drink at the
That's a little morbid. Like this is you
Sure
get to
now, Grandma.
let's say perfect world. This is the best last meal ever. How about that? You
Before the
know?
meteor hits us. Okay.
There you go.
Um, what would it be? I don't know. What do I like? I don't- That's a
I don't
good
know, so
question.
I'm asking.
It's a good question. What do I really like? Um, I like, can I not be gluten free for this meal?
You could be whatever you want. This is
All
great.
right. Then I want a key lime pie that's not gluten free. I'm dying anyway. Who cares, right? So I want a key, and and then I want um I want a real pizza, a non-gluten free real pizza. That's what I want.
So there with you.
And
That
then I
was
want to die before I get a stomach ache and get congested.
who you sharing it with?
Who am I sharing it with?
Man, why?
Everyone's going to say family, right?
I've had some people not say family.
I mean, I would say family. I mean, I can't not say family. Come on.
You can say whatever you want. It's your question to answer.
No, I'm going to go with family and play it safe.
Play. Okay. What's the not safe reason why it's family?
What's the not safe reason?
No, no.
No,
What's
I
the not
mean,
safe reason why it's family? Like, what's the like? Nah, the family is the safe answer, but why
yeah.
family?
Well, I
What
mean, in
about it?
reality, it would always be family because they're always the best top, best things for me, like the best. Like if I wanted to be funny, I'd be like John Hamm, but I'm not going to be funny. I'm going to say family.
So this is so on brand with you, this answer. I'm loving everything about it. By the way, I love key lime pie. We found
Right? It's
in
so good.
so good. I don't know why people don't like it.
I
It's
love it. It's like my
beyond me.
favorite. My
There's this
favorite.
there's this place. My in-laws are moving back here, but they live in Bonita right now. There's a place there that has this key lime pie ice cream that is
Oh,
lights out. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. I
I'm a
want that.
lime. I'm a lime person. I love lime. Like my when people are like at bars and things, or like I'm out for like at a dinner or something, and everyone's ordering their like dirty martinis or whatever. I'm like, I will have a Sprite with lime juice and mottled mint. And they're like, what alcohol? I'm like, nothing, just that. It's the most delicious thing ever. I'm like, that's all I want. It's like a little lime Ricky or whatever they call
I'll have
it.
that with you. I don't drink, so like, yeah, I'll
I
be
don't
there with
either.
you.
I don't either. I don't have the taste buds for alcohol. So, but I love a good lime Ricky.
So here's the reason why I asked this question. I think, for one, I love eating. Who doesn't love to eat? I love sharing a meal. I can't wait till you and I and your we do it every day
Yes.
with your my wife and your husband. Um, I think, and it is fitting. Like I've had people not say it's family, but it is fitting that it is family. And I believe world peace is going to be solved one family dinner at a time. And especially what you talked about with your family dinners, where oh, we're having business meetings. You guys would probably be still strategizing a business thing, maybe how to monetize your fucking funeral. I don't know. Like, how do you make it into a cool like send off or something like that?
It's
Who knows?
sponsored by Gruen's Gummies.
That was a good plug right there. That was good. That was amazing. Um, there's something really powerful about food, and obviously, with my fitness background, like you realize there's so much more on the plate than just food. Food is not just food. There's emotions, there's history, there's culture, there's everything on the plate, and you're sharing that.
Yep.
And to break bread with people is to like bring people in, especially when you mix cultures or mix ideas, any ideas. It's all we're sitting here, and it's an opportunity not just to eat, especially once you eat, hopefully you're less hangry. Like maybe we can talk like civil human beings of like, what are we really going on? What do we really want here? What do we want out of this? And I think there's something beautiful around that. Now that I know you love key lime pie, like, yo, you did like top of friends list. Let's go.
Right. And
This
they're
says a
not a
lot
lot of
about
us,
this.
like a special group.
We are select. I'm loving this. I feel like it's very like some panache behind that. Like you like key lime
Yeah,
pie?
there
Yeah, that's
is. It's
fine.
not just like a cheesecake. Come on.
I mean, I do love
Anyone can
cheesecake.
get a cheesecake. I do
I do
too.
love cheesecake. I
You
have a
do like
sweet
I do
tooth.
too. But um I like the one that's burnt on top. The French
Mm.
one. That
Oh,
is like my favorite cheesecake. The burnt one.
if you got a sweet tooth like me, we this might be a problem friendship, to be honest with you.
I
We
know, right? I know.
the other part about this question is, and maybe I've shared this with you, but I believe that the world is just our mirror and those in front of us. Like right now, you are a mirror of me. And for the record, I love what I see. And you're showing me something about myself.
Same,
And
same.
thank you. And especially on our deathbed, our last days, especially if we can choose who we're going to be with, what's beautiful about that is they are the representation, they are the mirror of the furthest growth we've had in our life.
So
And
true.
I don't know, maybe I told you this. I officiated my youngest brother's wedding and I wrote a speech called The Window in the Mirror, or yeah, The Window in the Mirror. I've evolved it and now it's a whole nother thing that I want to publish. But um, there's a saying, the eyes are the windows to the soul.
Right.
But what if there's something more? Was how I, and the long and short of it is like, well, what if they're also a mirror? The people are showing you a mirror into your soul. And in your soul is not only lives who you are, but it's also your purpose in this lifetime. And so when we get lost through life, and I think about this every time I get stuck, it's like, it's because I'm focused on everything else except for the people that I've chosen to build a life with, because they're showing me my path. It's my wife,
Yep.
my kid, it's my friends, the people that are like, they love me for me and they bring that best me out. So it's beautiful if we can do that. And I think it's really, I think that's just a lesson for everybody. Like when you feel lost, go look into the eyes of your loved ones. They will tell you. They'll tell you, and they'll bring you back to who you truly are, and you'll find your way again. And
Yep.
so that's why I thought that was really beautiful. And the overarching to thing to this, and you've shared a lot about like the love that your family has created together, which I think is really beautiful. These three questions. When I was younger, my father worked a lot. He was responsible for a lot of people. He traveled a lot, just we talk about all the time, but I always knew he loved me. And it was because every 4 to 6 weeks, he would take me out for a boys' night. We would go to Sports Authority when that still existed. We just wander around, maybe buy some fucking basketball or some shit like that, whatever, buy me a thing, or not at all, or just like talk about whatever sports I was playing.
Just time.
It was just time. And then
I
we
always tell parents when we're coaching them, do less, be more. Like that. That's
then
another clip for
fucking
you.
right. That's clipped. That's clipped. Let's go. That's gonna hit big time because it was 3 seconds and that was it. You know that's gonna go viral. That was fire. That overarching thing, those three things, sharing a meal and then going to see a move together was my way of connecting with my father, connecting to that love and having those moments, having those things where it was not about the meal, it was not about the movie, it was not about the sports authority or sport, whatever it was. It was about the time and the other things, like all the other parts of life come together in those moments. So my little way of sharing like a little love from my life with you right there. So
I love it.
that's really
Thank you.
good. If some aspiring entrepreneur, a voracious, creative woman is like, I'm ready to take that leap in my life. Like I have had this thing, I just haven't had the right mentor. I haven't had the right person to help me take this little baby that's in my brain and get it out there because I've been scared. I haven't had the right support. What's the best way for somebody to get in touch with you?
The best way is to email me at support@daniellelindner.com. And it's DANIELLE. And the last part's hard because people always forget the second N. LINDNER.com. Someone got me a beautiful charcuterie tray and it was all like beautiful and, had my name engraved in it. And then my last name was spelled wrong. And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'll take it back." I'm like, "Oh, no, you won't. I'll cover it with salami." And this is a great story, which I'm now telling again.
The gift that keeps on giving. It's a beautiful thing. for anybody that's lazy like I am, don't worry, it's in the show notes if you didn't write it down, or if you want to go back and write it down, that's fine. But it'll be in the show notes and you can quickly click over and go connect. And she's awesome. And I obviously highly recommend
Thank
chatting
you,
with her.
thank you.
You're amazing. Before we go, what are your final words of wisdom you'd like to share with our audience today?
I think it goes back to what we just said for everything, for business, for your family. Um, do less and be more. And just, and everything doesn't have to be a gigantic production. Business doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to like have a logo and a website and all this other big fancy stuff to start a business, or you don't have to take your kid to Disney World to show them that you love them. Like just spend time, think about things, be creative. I think that would be it. I'm gonna go with that.
I love it. Do less, be more. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I'm going to adopt that. That's a fire mantra right there. Everybody, go connect with Danielle. She has become very quickly a very dear friend, and I'm super grateful that you've come into my life. I don't know why people come into my life, but I do believe we come into our lives for a reason, and I'm excited.
Same for me, 100%.
It's a beautiful thing. Everybody, click the link in the show notes and go connect with her. Go email her. Go make your business baby alive. Like that was a really weird thing I just said there, but fucking go do it, and you'll be grateful you did. You'll realize what an amazing person I've realized to get to meet here. That's all we got for today, everybody. Thanks for sharing your time and your energy with us. And until next time, I remind you to love every